My brother shoved my dying dad into a wall when he asked for help. My dad had lung disease and needed constant oxygen. He lived in his 4-bedroom house that he'd built himself 30 years ago. I moved back in to take care of him after his diagnosis. My sister Natalie was married to this guy Jerome, who thought he was God's gift to business because he flipped one house 5 years ago and made $20,000. He'd been unemployed since then, calling himself a real estate mogul while Natalie paid their rent. When Dad got really sick, Jerome started coming around more. Not to help, but to measure rooms and take pictures. He'd walk through the house talking about what he'd change when it was his. Dad was still alive in the next room hearing all this. Jerome would say things like, "This place has good bones. Shame it's being wasted on a dying man." He actually said that while Dad was on his oxygen machine 10 feet away. One day, Dad was struggling to walk to the bathroom. Jerome was in the hallway and Dad asked him for help. Jerome stepped aside and said he didn't want to catch whatever Dad had. Dad tried to squeeze past and Jerome actually shoved him. Said he was in the way of checking out the master bathroom. Dad fell against the wall and I had to run to catch him. Jerome just walked into the bathroom and started talking about removing the tub for a modern shower. That's when Jerome announced his plan. He said since Dad was dying anyway, he and Natalie should move in to maintain the property. He'd already brought boxes and started putting them in the garage. When I said absolutely not, Jerome said I had no say since Natalie was older and would inherit everything anyway. He'd actually looked up inheritance law and decided Dad's house was basically already theirs. Dad was too weak to fight, but he told Jerome to leave. Jerome laughed and said confused old people shouldn't make property decisions. The next week, Jerome and Natalie just showed up with a moving truck, started bringing in furniture while Dad was at a doctor's appointment. When we got home, Jerome had rearranged the living room and thrown Dad's recliner in the garage because it was outdated. Dad's oxygen concentrator was unplugged and moved to a corner because Jerome said the noise bothered him. Jerome had set up his gaming system where Dad's medical equipment was supposed to be. Natalie said they were just helping by updating the place. When Dad tried to protest, Jerome told him this was their house now, and he was a guest who should be grateful they let him stay. He actually used those words to a man dying in his own home. Jerome took over Dad's bedroom that night, said the master should go to the actual masters of the house. He moved Dad's stuff into the smallest bedroom, the one without the attached bathroom Dad needed for his frequent night trips. Dad had to walk across the hall now, holding his oxygen tank, while Jerome slept in his custom adjustable bed. Jerome started telling neighbors he'd inherited the house and was letting his sick father-in-law stay out of kindness. He changed the locks and gave me a key like he was doing me a favor. He put his name on the mailbox, started getting mail delivered there to establish residency. He threw away Dad's medications once because they were cluttering his bathroom counter. Dad missed 2 doses of heart medication because of it. Jerome said it probably didn't matter since Dad was terminal anyway. He actually started planning renovations while Dad was still alive. Had contractors come give estimates. They'd walk through Dad's room while he was lying in bed. Jerome would point at Dad and say, "We'll clear this room out soon for an office." The contractors looked uncomfortable, but Jerome just kept talking about his timeline for after the inconvenience was resolved. He meant Dad dying. What Jerome didn't know was that Dad had changed his will 2 years ago. He'd seen how Jerome treated Natalie, spending her money and calling her stupid when she questioned him. Dad left the house to me alone, not Natalie. He'd had it notarized and filed with his lawyer. He also added a specific clause that Jerome could never live in or own the property. Dad had been recording Jerome's behavior on his phone from his bed. Every threat, every shove, every cruel comment. He'd sent them all to his lawyer who kept them safe. Dad passed away 6 weeks after Jerome moved in. Jerome wore a suit to the funeral and gave a speech about losing his beloved father-in-law and the responsibility of caring for his estate. He actually brought house paint samples to the funeral home to show people his renovation plans. At the will reading, Jerome brought a contractor and was discussing knocking down walls. He'd already given Natalie's parents a move-out date for me. Said I had 2 weeks to clear my stuff. The lawyer started reading. The house went to me. Only me. Full story on channel. Link below.